Good evening, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching, it is appreciated. Lucy Connolly, one of the people that was jailed after the Southport protest last year, has had her appeal denied and it's been refused. This was put out today by the media. The appeal actually happened a few days ago and they declined to give a decision at the hearing. They've sent her back to prison and the appeal's come out today and it's been refused. There's a lot of people online that seem to be surprised by this. I'm not particularly surprised by this and I want to chime in and give my opinion on why that is. According to the state can never be wrong. The state can never own up to a mistake and the state can never say that it's acted inappropriately. That's a legal no-no, and anybody who's been in the legal profession will say, even if you're wrong, don't admit that you're wrong. It's why people last year shouldn't have pled guilty when they were advised to plead guilty by their pro bono solicitors and lawyers that were provided by the state. That's the first thing you need to always remember. If the police arrest you, and you are sure or you think you haven't committed a crime, don't plead guilty, because the likelihood is a jury of your peers will agree with you. That's what these people didn't do, but that's why the state will not admit guilt. They won't admit that they've done something wrong, because it leaves them exposed to compensation and other unniceties that they wouldn't be predisposed to take lightly. So when the state admits, we had the Inspector of Police, I believe, they put a report out a few weeks ago saying that the riots last year, as described by the Prime Minister, that were organised by the very online right and the far right thugs, turned out that that wasn't actually true. That's immaterial. The state has took a decision and the state will stand by its decision, which is why they will not let somebody out that is not guilty of inciting violence in a practical sense, but they are in a legal sense because they admitted guilt. So that's the issue. If Lucy had not pled guilty, she would not be in prison because the jury wouldn't have found her guilty. It's as simple as that. The decline of the appeal is simply the state trying to save face, because if they admit they got it wrong here, they have to admit they've got it wrong in other places. And as far as they're concerned, they haven't got it wrong. The person that was arrested has pled guilty, so they've got their person. So there's nothing to appeal in their view. That's just my opinion. As I say, I don't think Lucy should be in prison. I think it is a miscarriage of justice. She received bad legal advice, bad legal counsel. Now what they attempt to do in situations like this is they try to divert attention. We've had information out today that Tommy, who was also, in my opinion, wrongly imprisoned last year for showing a documentary, and he was under a court order not to show the documentary, but he did it anyway. He was sent to prison as well. Now, this was a civil matter. This was never criminal, so in my opinion, he shouldn't have been in prison anyway. But they have decided to release him 4 months early, so thank heavens for small mercies. But don't be distracted. This is what they'll do. They'll give you, or try to give you, two stories, one negative, one positive, to try to deflect. Now, I'm using Lucy Connolly's case as an example. There are many hundreds of people that are in prison for things like this on a yearly basis. They shouldn't be in prison. They've probably never seen the inside of a courtroom and don't know how common law and legally what they should and shouldn't say. And so I'm using her as an example, but we need a review of our legal system. The state, first and foremost, is there to preserve itself. All of the institutions are there to preserve themselves. Even the leftist trade unions are part of this machinery now. That's why you'll get leftists, and they can go on out and actually incite violence on the streets, such as a former Labour councillor, Ricky Jones. He's not even had a court date yet. And while we so relax on certain types of crimes, such as sex predators and people that prey on children, we seem to have a blind spot. Just something to think about. How many people in the BBC over the years have been guilty of these types of crimes How many of them have seen the inside of a prison cell? Now, if you like this video, comment below and let me know. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one later on today. Have a good evening, and eyes on the prize. Always remember what we're fighting here. Always do it peacefully. Never go out and cause trouble, and just be aware of your legal rights. Have a good day.